Looks like we're back for another lesson today. Looks like we're probably going to do two sections right now. We're going to take care of 3.1 and 3.2 kind of here at the same in the same video on the same day. They're really two sections you've gone over a lot of times. Kind of in your math career, we're going to talk about graphing points on the coordinate plane. That should take about 2.5 seconds. A little bit more with the coordinate plane and doing those types of things. That's really section 3.1, and then we're going to talk section 3.2, which deals with slope and writing equations of lines and all of those different types of things dealing with slope. So let's get on with it. There'll be a little bit of pause probably in the middle to kind of for me to switch over, but yeah, kind of here we go. So we're going to interpret graphs, blah, 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 blah. So there's kind of the format for today and the different things we're going to take a look at. So first off, interpreting a line graph. Here's an example of kind of a line graph, and you can kind of see that this line graph is going up kind of from left to right. If you look at the side, it's spending. So it's personal spending on medical care, spending in billions of dollars, and then the year on top. And you can kind of see as the years go along, the graph gets bigger. It goes up and up and up and up. So more money is spent on medical care kind of each year. Plotting ordered pairs. Now remember, when you're plotting ordered pairs on the graph, each pair of numbers, 3, 1, 5, 6, -4, -1 is an example of an ordered pair. So we graph ordered pairs on the coordinate plane. I know a lot of these look a lot like the interval notation that we did in chapter 2. This is different. Now we're plotting points, and you've plotted points on the coordinate plane before. The x-axis goes this way, the y-axis goes this way. Your x-coordinate is first, your y-coordinate is second. So for 3, 1, you're over 3, up 1. For -5, 6, you're -5, up 6. For 4, -1, and so on and so forth. Where they come together is the origin. Again, we've got the x-axis, we've got the y-axis. Quadrants as well. This is what we call a rectangular or a Cartesian coordinate system. Again, with our x and y axes, this has coordinates. There are 4 different coordinates. We've got quadrant 1 is kind of that upper right-hand corner. Quadrant 2 is the upper left-hand corner. Quadrant 3 is the lower left-hand corner, and quadrant 4 is the upper right-hand corner. So those are our different quadrants that we have in there. And then, of course, we have the x and the y axes. So first thing you're going to have to do today is find an ordered pair that satisfies the given equation. So we're going to complete this table of ordered pairs. So they're giving us an x value. We got to find the y value. So it really just becomes substitution. So if they give us our x value is 0, we're going to go 3 times 0 minus 4y equals 12. Solve that. You get -4y equals 12. Y equals -3. So if x is equal to 0, y is equal to -3. And this is called an intercept. This is used quite often. Okay? The next one, if y is 0, so we go back to our equation, and now this time, anywhere we see a y, we're going to replace it with a 0. So you get 3x minus 0, so 3x equals 12, x equals 4. Okay, so there's our next point. Now, when you're graphing, you can always use this method for graphing. You can pick values of x, you can pick values of y, and you can graph. And really, again, all you're doing is substituting in there. So you get 3x plus 8 equals 12, 3x equals 4, so you get 3/4. And you kind of get where we're going on. We're just kind of using substitution to complete this table of ordered pairs. So you look at your equation. In your equation, anywhere you see an x value, if they give you an x value, you replace it, you solve for y. If they give you a y value, replace it and solve for x, and so on and so forth. Okay? And again, that's just what they're going to go on and explain here when they do this question. Okay? We can use then this stuff to help us graph lines. Today you're going to have to plot points. Stuff you should be able to do rather quickly, but we can also use these to graph lines. The graph of an equation is a set of all points corresponding to all ordered pairs that satisfy the equation. And it gives kind of a picture of what the equation is going to look like. So if something is linear, So linear equations in two variables are anything, and we've talked about this as anything in the form of ax plus by equals c. This is essentially what we call standard form of an equation of a line. A, b, and c are real numbers, and both a and b cannot be 0. Again, this is called a standard equation of a line. So when we have things in standard equation of a line, we want to be able to find what we call the x and the y-intercepts, and it can help us graph it. So the x-intercept is when your graph crosses the x-axis, and your y-intercept is where your graph crosses the y-intercept. And if you think about these points, when you look at these points, this is going to be something with an x value of 0. And this is going to be 0 with some y value. And you can always use these intercepts to help you find the graph of the line. Not always. Sometimes it doesn't intersect one of the axes, but it's always going to intersect one of them. But this kind of an easy way for us to graph equations of a line is by finding these different intercepts. So when you're doing this, to graph an equation of a line, you're going to let y equals 0 to find the x-intercept, and you're going to let x equals 0 to find the y-intercept, and then you're just going to go ahead and substitute in. So if we want to find the intercepts of this equation and graph it, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my x value equal to 0. So if I set my x value equal to 0, that's 2 times 0 minus y equals 4. So negative y equals 4. So y equals negative 4. So I've got the point 0, negative 4. So that's my y-axis. To find the other intercept, I'm going to set my y value equal to 0. So 2x minus 0 equals 4. 2x equals 4. X equals 2. So I've got the point 2, 0. There's the point 2, 0. Now if I'm going to graph that equation of the line, there's the graph of the equation. We did this, again, just by finding the intercepts. So you set your x value equal to 0. To find your y-intercept, you set your y value equal to 0 to find your x-intercept. And here's they're doing it. They do it a little bit different as they do everything. But there it is. All right, so that's finding intercepts. The other thing you have to be able to do is you need to recognize is it horizontal or is it a vertical line that's passing through the origin. So if we have the graph y equals 3, the way I look at this is I think, okay, my y value always has to be 3. Doesn't matter what my x value is. My y value always has to be 3. So my y value has to be 3 no matter what x value I put in there. I can put negative 7. I can put negative 8 in there. I can always, but my y value, of course, I picked ones that aren't on here. So negative 4 still is 3. Okay, so there is the graph of this. Okay, so the way I always think about it is y has to always be 3. So y is always going to be 3 is going to be a horizontal line. Okay, in this case, if we're asked to graph this, you get x is equal to negative 2. Anytime you have an x equals, your x value always has to be, in this case, negative 2. So an x equals is always going to be a vertical line. Okay. And then you're done with that. All right, so if we're just asked to graph this, I'd find the intercepts. It's kind of the easiest thing to do when you're graphing this is to kind of find the intercepts for this. So I'm going to set my x value equal to 0. And any time you're asked to graph, you can always do this. So you get negative y equals 0, y equals 0. So you get the point 0, 0, which is like right there. If I set my y value equal to 0, interesting. The point 0, 0. So, so does finding the intercepts in this one help? In this case, you get the point 0, 0, so it doesn't help a lot, but this is a line. So how could I find another point to graph? Make one up. It's as simple as that. You just kind of make something up. So make up a y value. Let's say y is equal to 3. So if I set my y value equal to 3, you get x is equal to 1, I believe. So now I've got the point 1, 3. 2 points creates a line. That's all you need. So my graph of this They're going to look something like this. So even if your intercepts don't lead you to anything, okay, they lead you to this blank area. Oh no, it's the same point. Pick another point. Pick another value for y. Pick another value for x. I picked 3 because I knew it was going to be a nice number. But pick another value and substitute it in, and you can create the graph for it. Okay, you can always do that when you're graphing. Let's see how they did it. They did the same thing. They found the y-intercepts. They noticed that it didn't work. And then they just kind of said, oh, well, let's just graph it. We did it a little more accurately than they did, but they did it. All right, last part, and I forgot that we're going to have to do this in the kind of the introduction of this. And I think I'm going to cut this short and just do 2 separate videos for this. So I have to watch them on the same day, but I'm going to do 2 separate videos so you don't have to watch me for 47 minutes. Okay, like 30, but 25, whatever. But take a break. You can do this section real quick. Maybe you didn't even need to watch this, but do the section real quick and then kind of move on and then do the second lesson for the day. So the midpoint formula. Midpoint is finding the middle point on a line on the coordinate plane. And here is the formula for the midpoint. If the endpoints PQ are x1, y1, and x2, y2, the midpoint is m equals x1 plus, that's average. You know, it's essentially the average. It's average of your x's, it's the average of your y's when you're finding the midpoint. Okay, so find the coordinates of the midpoint. So here's our coordinates. We got to find the midpoint. We are going to take the x values, you're going to add them together. So -5 plus 2, you're going to divide it by 2. You're going to take the y values, 8 plus 4, divided by 2. And you're going to solve. You can find, you know x1, I mean, you guys have done this stuff before. So you get -3/2, and what is that? 12 divided by 2, 6. So there's the midpoint of those two. Add them up, divide by 2. It's average. That's all midpoint is. It's just the average. You've done these before. And we're not going to do anything else. So that's really all you have for this lesson. The rest of this stuff, we're not going to use that graphing calculator. So in your homework assignment for this page, you're going to just plot things on the coordinate plane, find the intercepts, find the midpoint for a couple of them, move on to the next one. If you had to watch this video, great. Hi, bye, you're done. If you didn't have to watch this video, you're not watching the video, so I guess that's kind of irrelevant. A little over 12 minutes and 30 seconds for this one. That's not bad.